welcome to the Parent Sports Circle. No personal Tuesday for football.
You got music playing there?
Yeah, background for now.
Sorry.
Go
And
ahead.
so, did you introduce yourself there, Curtis?
I did, yes.
Okay, sorry. I'm RJ. So, Curtis, I need to tell you something that's been on my mind since we started planning this episode.
What's that?
So, my kids are grown now, right? They've
Yep.
moved out on their own, living their own lives. And I've said this on the podcast before, but I was thinking back to when they were younger. And man, if I could go back and redo some things,
Oh, so where's this going to go then?
Well, I remember my son in middle school. He was maybe 12. He tried out for the basketball team and he didn't make it. And you know what I said to him? I said, well, you just need to practice more and try harder for next year, right?
Right, okay.
Yeah. And then he just shut down, right? He went to his room, didn't talk about basketball again for months. At the
Hmm.
time, I thought I was being encouraging, right? And looking back now, I realized I completely missed how he was feeling.
That's pretty heavy, man. But also, that's exactly what we're going to do in this episode because most of us are learning as we go. And sometimes we don't realize the impact until much later.
Exactly. And now I get to watch my friends and my sister going through the same things with their kids, right? And I'm like, wait, don't make the same mistakes I did. So that's why I want to help, and that's why we decided to put this episode together.
That's right, RJ. Well, I'm right in the thick of it right now. My daughter just turned 11, and let me tell you, the pressure is on and is real at this age.
Middle school, right? That's a rough time for kids.
Yeah, well, it must be an Ontario or Canadian thing because I don't think the U.S. has it as much as we do. I'm unsure. But if you're from the
Mhm.
U.S., let me know. Leave a comment and find out if it's the same situation for you.
Yeah, same schooling.
Yeah. So it is. If it is, let us know. And then what we're going to tackle today is how to build confidence in our kids without actually or accidentally crushing them under the weight of our own expectations.
Yeah, because I thought I was being supportive back then, but I wasn't, not really.
Well, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? And then back then it was a little bit younger, probably thought things differently. But most of
Mhm.
us are trying our absolute best. But there's a fine line between building confidence and applying pressure. And sometimes we don't even realize we've crossed it.
Mhm. So help me understand what I didn't understand back then. What is the difference? Because when I said just try harder, I genuinely thought I was helping it.
Yeah, that's a pretty good question, RJ. So here's how I think about it. Confidence is something that grows from the inside. It builds it builds when kids have real experiences where they feel capable and competent. They own that feeling.
Okay, so tell me a little bit more.
So pressure comes from the outside, so like us, other people, that sort of stuff. That's when kids feel like they have to perform or achieve something to make us happy or to avoid disappointing us.
Yep. So confidence is I believe in myself, and pressure is more like I better not let dad down.
Exactly, RJ. And that's where we all get tripped up. We accidentally create pressure when we focus too much on the outcomes instead of the whole process.
Yeah, process versus outcomes. Give me an example because I need this spelled out, and I think people need this spelled out for them. This is what I missed with my kids, right?
Yeah, perfect. So let's use your son's basketball example. An outcome focused response, which is what you gave him, was you need to practice more and try harder. You're really focusing on the result, making the next team next time. So you know what I
hmm
mean? You have to work harder to get there.
Which at the time to me seemed logical. It seems like a genuine response.
Oh, it does, RJ. But process focus would have sounded like this. That must have been really disappointing. Tell me more about the tryout. What parts felt good and what parts were tough?
Yeah, I love that. That's what I didn't do, right?
Right? Yeah, most of us don't. But see, that opens up a conversation about the experience itself, not just the outcome. And it validates his feelings first.
Yeah, so I was basically telling him his disappointment didn't matter, right? Just focus on the next goal.
Yep. It wasn't intentional or anything, but yeah, kind of. And with my daughter right now, I'm really trying to be. curious of this, or conscious of this. Sorry, she's been stressed about her grades lately, and she doesn't like to go to school. So
Yeah. And this is, something I've learned lately, and that's why it's important for me. I'm actually writing this in a book I'm writing, right? I'm talking about this very topic. So that's why it's so important, right? So yeah, 11-year-olds stressed about grades, but this is the pressures we put on our kids.
that's right, RJ. So instead of saying you need to study harder or you're smart, you'll do fine, I've been asking her what subjects are the hardest right now, and what do you think you need help with? And it's usually math,
Mhm.
and she does quite well on her tests. So I don't understand why she's having such difficulty with it. So that's kind of one of those weird situations. But we're trying to encourage her a little bit differently, and give her like more like real life math. Like, hey, we go to the store.
Yeah.
Okay, this is $5. The thing costs 450. What's your change? And then we try to help her that way. So it's more realistic for her rather than just
Yeah.
like, oh, it's on a piece of paper. So that's been helping
And you're
us.
letting her lead the way in her journey with the conversations you're having,
Yep,
and letting her work it out.
exactly, RJ. So that brings us to our practical 5-step strategy. The first one is celebrate effort over results.
So hit me with an example of that.
So instead of saying, great job winning your game, try, I noticed how you kept encouraging your teammates even when you were down by 10 points. That's real leadership.
So you're talking about what they did, not just whether they won.
Exactly, RJ. Because when we celebrate outcomes like A plus on a test, the winning goal, we're accidentally teaching our kids that value is tied to achievement.
Right. Which I definitely did, right? I was
Mm-hmm.
so focused on achievements and accomplishments.
Yep, that's kind of a trap for us a lot of times, but that's where we are, right? So if we were taught right, but we can break the cycle. Number two, share your own struggles with them.
Okay, actually, I think I did this well.
Yep,
Um, I used to tell my kids about when I'd get laid off, when I got laid off, actually before I met their mom.
yep,
Um, and I wanted to know that everyone struggles, right? So I was laid off. It was depressing. It was sad. I mean, we need to have income. We need to pay our bills.
yep.
But it was part of the journey. I eventually found another job, which is where I met their mother, which led them to the family we've created. So it led into something better, right?
That's good. That's pretty powerful, Jay, that you did that. So you actually just changed the way you were thinking and looked at things differently, right? So you did things really right. It normalizes the struggle and shows that confidence doesn't mean never failing. So if your kids see you fail, they say, "Hey, Daddy wasn't able to do it, but he overcame something. So maybe I can do it too." So like leading by example, or just letting them know that that's okay to
And I
fail
turned it into
sometimes.
a positive, right? Because
Yep.
I said that sometimes failing is for a reason, right? So, but I just wish I'd been better of letting them know about the struggle in the moment, right? I was always trying to fix things and push them for their next achievement, trying to get them to be better or become better. But I didn't realize the harm I might have been doing for them.
Yeah. Sometimes that helps with some kids, but other kids maybe not. Which brings us to number three. Ask questions instead of giving directives or typing or trying to fix things.
Yeah, so this is one that needed help with the most. I've learned a lot, but I'm still willing to learn more, right?
Excellent. Thanks, RJ. So instead of you should try out again next year or just practice more, how about trying how are you feeling about this? Or what do you think you want to do?
Yeah, so I'm not just jumping in with solutions or advice.
That's right. You're helping them develop their own internal compass. With my daughter, when she shows me her homework, I'm learning to ask, how do you feel about this? Instead of merely praising or correcting it, which is my
And that's
biggest problem.
hard
Yeah.
though, right? Because the instinct for us is to fix or tell them it's great. We don't want to see them struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty hard, man. But it's helping her develop her own judgment instead of just relying on my approval.
Man, I wish I'd known this 20 years ago.
I'm sure a lot of people would. But hey, you're here now sharing your experience so other parents can learn from it. That's valuable. Okay, let's move on to number four. Create low stake opportunities.
Low stakes. Explain this a little more.
Sure. So it's activities where they can try things and mess up, and it doesn't matter. Cooking together, playing board games, working on projects, no tests, no performances, no consequences.
Is that where they get this team playing thing where there's no scores, no achievements, right? So it's not everything has to be about achievement.
Yeah, pretty much. So with my daughter, we've started doing these cooking experiments on Saturday mornings, sometimes on Sundays too, just depends what's going on, usually after this podcast. Sometimes they turn out great, other times they're a disaster. But no pressure, it's fun. And yes, the kitchen becomes a mess sometimes.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think everything in my house was quite structured, right? Sports, schools, lessons, activities. It was all performance based.
Yep, yeah, I had that same situation with me when I was growing up too. So a lot of families operate this way, but kids need unstructured time to just play and explore. And so let them go outside, do their own thing, let them be by themselves, so they can get to know themselves better and see what they like, right? So let's move on to number 5. This one's really important. Validate feelings, not achievements.
Mhm. Yeah, this is where I really messed up with that basketball thing with my son.
So tell me what you would do differently now, RJ.
Well, perhaps instead of jumping straight in to just try harder, I could have said something like, bud, that really sucks, right? I wanted to help. I know you wanted this. And then just sit with him and in that disappointment instead of trying to fix it.
Yes, that's exactly it. And here's the thing, that's really important for everyone listening. Your child doesn't need you to feel confident all the time.
Say that again because I needed to hear this 20 years ago.
Sure, your child does not need you to feel confident all the time. Uncertainty, struggle, and even failure, these are all essential parts of building real, lasting confidence.
Mhm. And I think as parents, we want to appear competent to our kids. We want to feel like the champion for our kids,
Yeah,
right? But I was so scared of my kids failing that I think that I robbed them of the opportunity to build some real resilience.
yep, maybe, perhaps, but I'm sure they grew up and became good adults, right?
Oh,
But
for
you're
sure, but I could have done better.
Yeah, but you're recognizing that now too, right? And you're helping other parents avoid that same trap, and that's growth.
Mhm. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. So let's talk about pressure because I definitely applied too much of it without realizing it.
Yeah, pressure can sneak in with the best intention. It looks like constant corrections, comparing siblings, right? So you have younger kids, and that we have two kids, and you try to say, hey, your brother did better than you. You need to do better than that, right? So that
Mhm.
adds a weird sort of pressure, right?
Yeah, I've done this with my kids all the time, right? Why can't you be more like your sister? Why can't you do what your brother does and just, ha- you know, go hang out with people? So
Be
I put too much
sociable.
pressure on my kids, and I think other people do.
Yeah, most parents do actually. Why can't you keep your room clean like your sister? Well, because it's
Right.
not his sister, right, or whatever. That's the kind of thing.
Exactly. And now I can see how damaging that actually was.
Yeah, it's also overscheduling, showing disappointment when they don't meet expectation. With my daughter, I catch myself all the time doing this. She'll get a B on something, and I feel disappointed. I have to check with myself that yeah, I was also probably a B student in school too, which is fine.
Yep, but you also got the pressure, I'm sure, right? And we teach it what we've learned, right? But
Yeah.
what do you do in that moment with your daughter?
Well, I would remind myself that there's a difference between I'm disappointed in this grade versus I'm disappointed in you as a person. One is about specific situations. The other one attacks their identity, which is not great.
What a distinction.
Yeah, that's right. It really is. Okay, so how do we know if we're putting much pressure on our kids? Watch for these early warning signs, like constantly saying "I can't" before they even try. So if the kids are saying "I
Yeah.
can't do this," that's usually an indication, right?
Yeah, my daughter used to do this all the time. She'd say things like, "I'm not good at this," before even attempting to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's often a sign of too much pressure. Also, perfectionism tendencies, anxiety around tests or performances, or being a people pleaser who constantly seeks approval, which is also or probably not very good either, right?
Mhm. And all of this stuff my kids showed at different times, right? And I just thought they needed to push through it.
Yeah, that's a pretty common thing, which is how a lot of us think or thought of doing things, right? But now we need to know better. Hey, speak speaking of age difference, is if it's interesting if your reflective phase with growth kids, and I'm in the think I am in the thick of it with my 11-year-old.
Yeah, it was different times, right? So what's it like parenting a teen now in the digital age?
Well, it's pretty intense. At 11, kids are so aware of how they compare to their peers. My daughter came home last week and said everyone in my class is smarter than me.
Oh, oh man.
Yeah. So instead of asking, no, you're not, I asked her, what makes you think like that? And she turns out two kids in her class are in advanced math, and she decided that that means everyone is smarter. So it's not necessarily true, but her perspective of that was comparing, right?
Right. So she's comparing herself to literally everyone. Meanwhile, it's just a couple of kids.
Yeah, that's right, because they're her good friends, right? So we talked about it, about how everyone has different strengths and how math is just one subject. And I asked her what she thinks that she's good at.
Yeah, that's a good one, right? With younger kids like yours, that's constant comparison, right? And that's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty massive. And she says she likes drawing and coloring stuff, right? So then she's very good at that. So we always encourage her, make sure she feels confident about doing that. So she always does it, no matter what.
And I like that. Before you go into the next part, I like that because you're encouraging her artistic side.
Yep.
And I don't know about you, but with my kids, I kind of didn't want I wanted them to be great academically. I wanted to be great thinkers.
Yep.
And I discouraged the playfulness or the creative side.
Right. Yeah, for sure. So I lost my spot here. Anyway, I'll move on here. So it's a whole different world, but the principles are the same, right? Focus on effort, validate feelings, and let them struggle.
And honestly, some of these are strategies that will work with adult kids too, right? Like my son called me last month about a work situation, and my instinct was to give advice, but I asked him questions and let him work it out.
That's good. That's what we call growth.
Absolutely. 20 years late, but hey, better late than never. I have a better relationship with my kids because I can understand them a little better now.
That's really good, RJ. But see, as we grow, we learn new things, new techniques, and we help the kids out in different manners, right? Especially when they live on their own,
Mhm.
they're going to come in with little issues and problems that we can say, hey, listen, try. You can say, hey, do this, do this, do this. Or say, hey, what do you think's the best path for you? So it helps them like use their detective skills basically to help them. And it's
Yeah,
never too late.
for
It's
sure.
never too late. So let's talk about when kids resist trying things because I'm dealing with this right now.
So tell me what's going on.
My daughter doesn't want to try for the school play. She loves theater, but she's so afraid of getting a part that she won't even audition.
Mm. Yeah, so she's trying to avoid it
Yeah,
completely.
that's right. And my instinct is to push her because I know she'd love it. But the resistant is telling me that she needs confident support, not pressure.
Right. So what are you doing to help her?
So I said, it's totally okay to feel nervous about auditioning. You can go watch the play this year and see if you want to try next year. And I'm not bringing it up again unless she does. So which we actually had this situation earlier in the year. They had like the end of the
Mm.
school thing they do for Christmas type thing, and we asked her, she
Yeah.
was in it. She actually didn't want to be in it, but the school made all the kids go and do it. So she stood behind the tallest kid in school. Just she was on stage, but she was behind the
Yeah.
tallest kid, so no one would see her. So it was
Yeah.
funny, but
And then not bringing it up, right? Not bringing it up again because we want to support our
yeah,
kids. We want to see them succeed. We want to see them try out and fail if that's the case. But so to not speak up again, it takes a lot of restraint.
absolutely, it does. But I'm trying to give her permission to go at her own pace.
And I never did that, right? I was like, look, you signed up for it. You've given a commitment. You're going to do it.
Yep. Yeah, a lot of parents say that, and sometimes that's appropriate for teaching commitment. But there's a difference between that and forcing a scared child to do something before they're ready.
Yeah. And I didn't understand that distinction.
Yeah. So I know we for kickboxing, she did it for a season, And then she didn't want to do it because she said it was boring because they do the same thing over and over and over every class, and she doesn't like that. She likes to play games. She likes to have like a lot of new things happening. So then the new season came up and said, "You want to do it again?" It's like, "Nope." It's like, "Okay, fine, no problem." So maybe that's a counterintuitive thing. I'm going to say today, confident children are not children who always succeed.
Wait, what?
Said confident children.
Tell
Sure,
me.
sure. So confident children are not children who always succeed. They're children who know how to handle failure and learn from it and try again when they're ready.
Yeah, and like I said, I just wrote on this myself, so I do understand. I wanted people to hear what you just said,
Yeah,
right? Because that's what I wish I understood with my kids at the time. It's something I've learned since. And people, parents out there, you really need to understand this. Failure is okay. We can let our kids struggle a little bit, not get it right. But guess what? They're going to learn from the process. They're going to learn from the fact that, oh, I didn't quite get this. But that makes them stronger. That makes them a little bit more confident,
yep,
right?
that's right, RJ. If a child never experienced setbacks, they become fragile. They're terrified to try anything where success isn't guaranteed.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened with my daughter. By the time she got to college, any setback felt like the end of the world because we always protected them, right, from failures.
Yeah, so failure is actually part of building confidence. When my daughter bombed a math test last month,
Yeah, what did you
I
do?
didn't minimize it. I said that really didn't go the way you hoped for, right? And then she just sat there while I just sat there while she cried about it.
Oh, and then what did you
Then
do?
a few days later, when she was ready, she brought it up and we talked about it. What might happen next time, but I waited for her when she was ready to talk about it again.
Oh, that's so different from, okay, let's figure out how this, went wrong and how we can do this right.
That's the natural instinct, but which is what I was trying not to do, but I'm learning as well. So, okay, give me some of your quick home environmental tips.
You're going to give us some, you mean?
Yes.
Please do.
and, embrace mistakes openly. When you mess it up, say it out loud. Model that mistakes that are normal.
Yeah, I actually did this pretty well. I'm always messing stuff up. I'm a natural born klutz. I do get things wrong. I laugh it off, right? But I acknowledge my mistakes.
See, you had some good instincts. Avoid comparison language. So why can't you be more like your sister, right?
Oh, I failed at that one, right?
Right. Create reflection rituals. We do this. We do this thing at dinner, where everyone shares something they tried that day, whether it worked out or not.
I like that one.
Yeah.
That's nice.
And limit performance pressure. Not everything needs an audience. My daughter can draw and build and create without having to show me every single thing.
So they can just do things for the joy of doing them.
Exactly, RJ. We need to wrap this up now. What's your biggest takeaway as someone who's been through it?
So, okay, here's what I want parents to know. You're going to make mistakes. I made a lot of them, but your kids will be okay. My kids turned out all right. They're pretty competent, confident adults,
Awesome.
despite some of the mistakes I may have made with them, right? Um, so, but that doesn't mean I want you to go out and make the same mistakes. I want you to learn from what we've been talking about today. So, what matters most is that you keep learning, keep growing, keep trying to do the best for your kids' journey because it is their journey.
Yep. And from my perspective, from the trenches, is that the goal is not to raise a kid that's fearless without never doubting themselves. It's to raise a child who knows that doubt is normal and that they can handle whatever comes their way.
Yep. With your steady, pressure free support behind them.
Exactly. And parents, here's something for you. You don't need to be perfect. RJ kids turned out great, even with the mistakes he's made.
Yeah, they did turn out pretty good, and I'm pretty proud of them. I can
Yeah,
say that.
yeah, I can see that you're pretty proud dad about your kids. That's awesome, RJ. So your willingness to reflect and keep learning, that's what matters.
And it's never too late to change your approach, right? I'm still learning, even with grown kids.
That's a whole different animal there, right? So
You wait.
yeah, another few years, I guess. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for being part of the Parent Support Circle today. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with another parent who might need to hear it. And hey, if you're watching this on YouTube, do us a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, so that you never miss an episode. We drop new episodes every Sunday.
And give us a thumbs up, right? If you found this helpful, it really helps other parents find us.
And also, we'd love to hear from you if you're on our Facebook page. If not, then just go check out the Parent Support Circle and leave a comment. Tell us what resonated with you today. Share your experience if we have some, and let us know what topics you would like to cover again for next week or next time.
Seriously, we read all the comments, and your stories inspire so many of our episodes, right? You're not just listening to the circle, you're a part of the circle.
Absolutely. That's exactly right, RJ. And remember, every child's path to confidence is completely unique. Trust the process, trust your child, and trust yourself.
Until next time, we're here in the circle with you.
All right, guys. Take care, everyone, and have a good one. Thank you.
Oh, and one more thing before we go.
What's up, RJ?
Look, I know, but seriously, if you love this episode and want to dive even deeper into parenting topics, we've got some amazing resources for you, right, Curtis?
Yes, we do. There's one thing. Sorry, back here. That's right. Just head over to the website, Parent Support Circle, where you can join our community. And in the community, there's a couple of resources you can check out. There's some free worksheet checklists and guides that you can check out on the community page. Also,
and specific. Okay, go ahead.
No, that's all good. Carry on.
I'm just going to say for today's episode, we have a specific confidence builder checklist that you can put on your fridge, plus a guide called 50 process focus phrases to use with your kids, right?
Yep, that's right. It's a community right now. So if you go over to parentsupportcircle.com, you can check that out. Be in the community when you join.
And all the other social media, look for us at Parent Support Circle.
Yep, that's right, RJ. All right, so that's it for today's episode, and thank you so much.
All right,
guys. Have a good one.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.